China's largest unfinished light rail project was once envisioned as a major urban upgrade with an investment of 18.6 billion yuan for 7 lines spanning 227 kilometers. Construction began in 2017, but 8 years later, no tracks or trains have materialized. Instead, only rows of towering bridge piers, dubbed pillars of illusion, stand in the middle of city roads, disrupting the urban landscape and worsening traffic congestion. During peak hours, these abandoned pillars have extended commute times on some roads by 15 to 20 minutes, severely impacting residents. To many in Liuzhou, they are scars on the city. Now, the remnants of this ill-fated project are finally being dismantled. In November 2024, Liuzhou Rail Transit Investment and Development Group announced plans to remove the pillars and auxiliary structures along the north side of Yalu Road. In the following days, videos of the demolition began circulating online. Many locals voiced frustration, questioning how much of their hard-earned money had been wasted in this cycle of construction and demolition. The removal process presents new challenges. The massive, solid pillars must be dismantled safely while minimizing disruption to nearby roads and buildings. The construction team is using a cutting method, with each pillar taking about 2 hours to remove at a cost of 100,000 yuan. Underground sections pose an even greater challenge. Only the above-ground portions are cut down and transported away, while the buried foundations remain. The collapse of Liuzhou's light rail project reflects broader economic realities. Despite massive investments, the project stalled due to funding shortfalls, leaving a heavy financial burden on residents. As of late 2023, Liuzhou's urban investment platform had accumulated over 220 billion yuan in interest-bearing debt, the highest in Guangxi province. The financial fallout led to serious consequences for local officials. Former party secretary Zheng Junkang and former mayor Wu Wei were both removed from office and prosecuted. In December 2024, Wu was sentenced to death with a 2-year reprieve, while Zhang received a 16-and-a-half-year prison term. Authorities condemned their extravagant, wasteful projects and found them guilty of abusing power for personal gain and accepting large sums of illicit money. China's mounting local government debt has become a pressing issue for central authorities. Recently, state media highlighted the excessive expansion of high-speed rail networks, revealing that at least 26 stations remain underutilized. The report questioned accountability for these ineffective investments, with criticism largely directed at local governments. Among them, Haotuo Station in Danzhou, Hainan, is a prime example. Built at a cost of over 40 million yuan, it's sat unused for more than 7 years due to its remote location and projected financial losses. Under public pressure, operations finally began on December 15, 2023. Some cities have even shut down stations due to low passenger numbers. Guilin, which built 9 high-speed rail stations, had to close Wutong Station after just 4 years, as its poor location and lack of transport links resulted in fewer than 200 daily passengers, making operations unsustainable. During the Lunar New Year celebrations, videos surfaced online showing Xiong'an Station, touted as the largest high-speed rail station in Asia, almost completely deserted. Videos shared online revealed that the station is complete. As a camera pans across the massive interior, only a handful of travelers can be seen. One person remarked, "Across all of Asia, only Xiong'an Station in Xiong'an New Area is built as large as an airport. It's truly enormous. If you're coming here for the first time, you'll definitely get lost inside." A person who filmed the scene described the station as incredibly vast and empty, attributing the lack of passengers to the low number of passing trains and the area's sparse population. Overall, Xiong'an Station has not truly been put into full operation yet. I see many discussions online about how massive the station is, but does that really matter? If there are no people, isn't it all a waste? Some visitors even express unease about the desolate atmosphere. One person stated, "If you come here at night, it feels downright eerie, almost unsettling." Xiong'an Station is 1.4 times the size of Beijing South Railway Station, equivalent to 66 football fields. Xiong'an New Area was officially established in April 2017 as part of Xi Jinping's vision to relocate non-capital functions from Beijing. Touted as a millennium plan, the project has faced skepticism, with progress repeatedly stalled. On his third visit in May 2023, Xi reaffirmed his decision, calling it completely correct and warning against impatience. However, he also admitted that the relocation of Beijing institutions to Xiong'an faced resistance. Despite its skyline of towering buildings, videos continue to show Xiong'an as a near-empty city with little sign of daily life. It's not just high-speed rail stations. China's expressways are also stalling. Aerial footage shows the unfinished Zhengqi Expressway, a 33-kilometer highway linking Yunnan and Guizhou. Despite a 5.9 billion yuan investment, construction halted in 2022 and remained suspended for nearly 3 years. The footage highlights the abandoned Yalu River Bridge, a key structure. Although work briefly resumed to complete the bridge's closure, it soon stopped again, leaving the entire highway in limbo. The primary cause is a financial breakdown, with the local government deeply in debt, delaying payments to contractors and leaving migrant workers unpaid. As time drags on, the situation worsens. Overgrown vegetation, rusting steel reinforcements, and large-scale landslides now plague the site. Similar cases of abandoned real estate projects and infrastructure failures have also surfaced in Guiyang, the capital of Guizhou province. On January 17, 2025, another unfinished infrastructure project, Guiyang's T2 tram line, was exposed online. It was labeled as a wasteful vanity project. According to public records, the T2 tram line spans 11 kilometers with 13 stations. On March 22, 2022, the first phase of the T2 line was initially planned as a demonstration project, with traffic management measures in place for construction. The original plan aimed for completion and operation in 2024, yet as of now, the project remains at a standstill, with no progress in sight. Guiyang had initially planned to build a 12-kilometer ring expressway to connect the city center with a new development zone, with an estimated construction cost of 5.2 billion yuan. But with the collapse of the real estate bubble and a sharp decline in property-related revenues, the local government has been unable to fund further construction, leaving the project in limbo. Meanwhile, more abandoned infrastructure projects are being exposed. A viral video shows 2 deserted tunnels hidden deep in the mountains of Guizhou, with 2 heavy-duty trucks left inside. The video raises pressing questions. What happened here? Why were these costly tunnels built only to be abandoned? Is there any chance of resuming construction? Frustration is mounting among people as more failed infrastructure projects come to light. Some complain that there is no money to build, no way to demolish, and continuing to use is too costly, creating a bizarre trap of waste and mismanagement. Others question why, despite obvious risks and financial constraints, authorities insist on pushing forward recklessly, even when conditions are lacking. Since assuming office as General Secretary in November 2012, Xi Jinping has championed a wave of ambitious large-scale projects, but over the past 12 years, many of those initiatives have either stalled due to a lack of follow-through or have been plagued by corruption, resulting in abandoned construction sites across the country. These projects, costing billions or even hundreds of billions of yuan, have ultimately gone to waste, sparking widespread public outrage. In some cases, political factors have also played a role in turning these grand projects into unfinished relics. The Russia-North Korea joint bridge project over the Tumen River has become a hot topic, with concerns over its height, navigation conditions, and impact on China's northeastern seaport access. Meanwhile, China's new Yalu River Bridge, completed 10 years ago but still unopened, has fueled frustration among Chinese people. In Dandong, a 2.2 billion yuan bridge was built as a new link between China and North Korea. Completed in 2015, it has remained unused for 10 years, with not a single vehicle crossing. Few know about it, and it gets little attention. Despite 70% of China-North Korea trade flowing through Dandong, it doesn't use a new bridge behind me, but instead relies on the old Yalu River Bridge in the city center. Built nearly a century ago, the old bridge has a 20-ton weight limit, severely restricting trade between the two countries. China's new Yalu River Bridge, a 3-kilometer, 33-meter-wide link to North Korea was designed to handle heavy trucks. Originally set to open in 2014, it now stands abandoned. The reason? North Korea never built the approach road on its side, rendering the bridge unusable despite China completing its portion. The delay stems from the two sides failing to reach an agreement. Critics call the 2.2 billion yuan bridge a wasted investment, seeing it as a failure of China's North Korea policy. Others note that closer Russia-North Korea ties have weakened Beijing's influence, leaving Xi Jinping frustrated as Kim Jong-un grows more independent. China's rapid infrastructure expansion was fueled by debt, prioritizing short-term growth over sustainability. Reckless borrowing led to abandoned airports, ports, and highways when funding dried up. In February 2024, China's State Council ordered provinces to sell assets at all costs to tackle local debt, marking a shift from expansion to repayment. The directive restricts new government projects and reviews ongoing ones until debt risks are lowered. In November 2024, China's Ministry of Finance launched a 10 trillion yuan debt relief plan, but analysts say it's a temporary fix that postpones deeper issues. With land sales revenue declining, local governments face mounting repayment risks. Despite surging debt, Beijing has pushed local governments to accelerate public projects. A January 2025 Nikkei Asia report revealed that Guiyang, after halting its Ring Expressway, redirected funds to 61 projects, including a dam and a hospital. However, as of early 2025, no companies have committed to its planned energy-saving industrial zone. Historian Yuan said, "The root cause is that these abandoned projects are not driven by economic necessity, but by political ambitions and personal achievements. Under heavy government intervention and during periods of economic boom, many took advantage of these vanity projects for personal gain. But in the end, market realities have repeatedly embarrassed the Chinese government." Mr. Li cited Xiong'an as a prime example of China's flawed infrastructure strategy. Despite being a low-lying area unsuitable for habitation, the government poured billions into making it a secondary capital. The project had failed, yet authorities keep throwing money at it, creating a vicious cycle. He criticized China's leadership for prioritizing political ambitions over economic realities, forcing grand projects while officials fabricate justifications instead of questioning decisions. Dr. Frank Xie of the University of South Carolina, Aiken, argued that China's infrastructure boom lacks feasibility studies and genuine market demand. Projects are rushed to boost GDP and political achievements, with wasted resources seen as collateral damage. The so-called infrastructure frenzy is merely an illusion to mislead global investors. China's high-speed rail network now spans over 48,000 kilometers, but China's State Railway Group is drowning in nearly $1 trillion of debt. Ghost stations are common, and during the 2024 Lunar New Year, overcrowded slow trains contrasted with empty high-speed rail. Yet in January, the railway operator announced plans to expand to 180,000 kilometers by 2030, including 60,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. Beyond high-speed rail, Xi Jinping's administration is also pushing for a series of massive water conservancy projects. Following the stalled Xiong'an New Area, state media is now promoting the Grand Canal Cultural Belt as another Millennium Project. One such project, the 134-kilometer Pinglu Canal in Guangxi, began in 2022 with completion planned for 2026 at a cost of over 70 billion yuan. By mid-2024, excavation was halfway done, with 33 billion yuan already spent. Meanwhile, large-scale canal projects are spreading across inland provinces despite their financial struggles. State media claims these canals are essential for economic growth, but best-selling author Song Hongbing questioned how debt-ridden local governments can fund such super projects. German hydrologist expert Wang Weiluo went further, calling them anti-science and defying nature. He criticized the government for forcing water to flow in unnatural directions to exert total control over resources. Using Pinglu Canal as an example, he noted that Guangxi's rivers naturally flow into the Pearl River, reaching major ports in Guangzhou and Shenzhen, both of which already suffer from overcapacity due to weak exports. Wang warned that large-scale canal excavations will severely damage ecosystems, disrupting rivers and lakes while worsening floods and droughts. He linked the 2024 Guangxi floods to canal construction and predicted even greater disasters ahead. Drawing a historical parallel, he recalled Emperor Yang of the Sui dynasty, who built the Grand Canal between 605 and 610 AD at enormous financial cost, only for the dynasty to collapse 8 years later. Wang suggested that the CCP's reckless canal building spree could lead to a similar fate.